All right, it is 6 o'clock. We're going to go ahead and get started with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right, for our first item today, we are actually starting off with a public hearing on the Senior Center reconsideration of rezoning. And so at this time, we are now opening the public hearing.
Mr. Mayor?
Sir.
So, Mayor, members of the council, I'll just give a brief synopsis of where we are procedurally and kind of how the hearing will go.
Okay.
So procedurally, a couple of months ago, the Senior Center had applied to rezone the property. The City Council voted to approve the rezoning of one parcel and voted to deny the rezoning of the other parcel. Pursuant to Charter City Code 4-9, a person may ask for reconsideration of the land use application if the request is made at the next regularly scheduled meeting, which the representative of the Senior Center did at the May meeting. So, the representative of the Senior Center is requesting that this body reconsider the denial of rezoning the property of that last lot. That's where we're at now. The way the hearing will go is the applicant will present the request to reconsider that and then the request to rezone a piece of property. Then members of the public can make presentations. And how many, do we know how many have signed in to testify?
No, I was going to Steve?
He's got it.
And then the applicant will have an opportunity to rebut or produce any additional testimony, and then you close the public hearing.
Okay.
I have been in consultation with Councilwoman Alexander, and it's my advice to her that she not participate in the voting or the deliberations because of some prior. She had some prior communications that would lead to the appearance of bias, and if there wasn't any. But Councilman, did you have?
Other than that, subdivisions.
Do you believe that you can make a fair and unbiased decision? And has any member of the commission had any communication outside of the meeting with anyone regarding this rezoning application?
I don't know. Okay.
So we may have an issue if Councilman Shepherd doesn't come. It's not necessarily that you've got a quorum here for taking public testimony.
Right.
But when it comes time to deliberate and decide without Councilman Alexander's, you may not have a quorum to make that decision. So you have to take the decision. So, with that, Mr. Mayor, we can have the applicant begin, I guess.
Okay. Barbara?
Yes, I just wanted to appeal the decision and give to the council to make a decision based on your zoning ordinances. For 20 years, that lot 9 has been treated as commercial by the HOA. That, I believe, sets precedent. It was zoned in 2008 by the city as public, and I came to the council to have the zoning corrected as I didn't feel public was correct. That lot 1 and lot 9 we've been paying commercial dues on both lots to the HOA for 20 years now, and up until April, after the April hearing, I was advised by the HOA that they were going to suspend commercial water dues on lot 9 because of it not being used now and the issues at hand. But I just would like, and I gave the council at the appeal a list of my reasons. Do you still have that available?
Yes.
The only thing that I added is lot 9's proximity is in proximity to 3 other commercial businesses and only 1 residence. So,
Do you have anything else on the?
no, but I just was handed this. Will I have a chance to answer
Absolutely.
to this?
Yes.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thanks.
And I guess just that you take notice of the reasons that were set forth in the prior hearing.
Okay, thank you. Do we have a list of people that want to? Okay, so I'm just gonna go down the list of those that have said yes, that they're here to testify. The first being Terry Tucker. You're on.
Okay, so I'm here to represent the water system.
Okay.
And I have the water right license from the state of Idaho Department of Water Resources. And this one was done on March 3rd, 1989. And there is another one for 2003. The domestic water use, they have 11.3 cubic feet per second. So that's how much water the subdivision has total. So in the conditions of approval, item 4 is domestic use is for 53 homes, a senior center, a senior citizen center, a backhoe service, which I assume was Severance's Valleywide that time, a fire station, a restaurant and bar. So that tells me that everything else in 53 homes would be residential only. So that's what the permit is. So any more commercial would be in non-compliance.
Okay.
And then it kind of, the subdivision uses on a, in the winter months, they probably use a couple thousand gallons a day. And when we were doing the reports on it, it could do as high as 8,000 gallons a day. The subdivision only has a 30,000 gallon tank. And if I'm not mistaken, and I could be wrong about this, but a 5,000 square foot commercial building in Wasted County has to have sprinklers. And I believe I got that from John Duvall when he was still here. So a 30,000 gallon tank will not handle a 5,000 square foot sprinkler system. So it could devastate the subdivision too. And that's if, say a car wash. I mean, that subdivision cannot handle a car wash. Maybe something smaller, I don't know, but according to the water rights, it specifically states what commercial properties are. So they're specified in here, it does not include that lot. Matter of fact, it does talk about lot 38, 39 as being points of diversion for the system. So that actually pulls 2 of them away, so you got 53 homes for commercial buildings.
Okay.
That's all I have.
Okay, thank you very much.
And actually, if you want that permit number to look up, it's 65-13030.
Permit number you said?
Correct. Actually, it's not a permit, it's a water right.
Water right.
And there's quite a bit more stuff in here from the Severances, kind of stating what was done, and I assume I can just turn this over to you. You can
Yeah.
read it all, I don't know what we'll read it all, so
Okay.
there's quite a bit in here.
Jeff likes to read.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Next I have is Craig Weiss.
Thank you. Mayor and City Council, thanks for letting me speak today. I want to cover the timeline of the zoning changes.
Could you show that to the members of the council and then address their,
Sure. I want to talk about the timeline and the zoning, talk about the roads, water, the value of the lot, and then our goal as a subdivision.
Could you address your comments to these folks, because they're this is the governing body that will.
This is the body that decides?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Well, Mountain View subdivision was established in 1980 And, the Garden Valley Senior Center came along years later. I'm not sure what year. Was it 1990, Barbara, or what year?
1998
1998. 1998. So
is
18
when
years
it
later.
was purchased.
And lot number nine was the, in 2004, I believe, that they asked if they could make that a parking lot. And the subdivision board got together and said, yes, that would make sense to make it a parking lot, because if you've ever seen the parking lot around the time they have bingo or one of these other things, the roads get quite clogged up. And so it was natural to say, it makes sense. The lot number 9 is directly adjacent to the senior center, so it was a good idea for parking there. After 2 years of no parking there, they decided to turn it into a garden, and that's the time that we actually started charging for water. That was in 2006. And I have the records here of all the payments made, and that's when we started charging for lot number 9 water. Now, it's been brought to the attention that at some point there was complaints made about the water being charged commercial rate for that. I don't have it anywhere in the records that came up in a meeting, so I don't know that to be true. So I heard about it probably a year ago. Barbara complained to me that they were paying commercial water rates on that, which is $10 more a month. So it's substantial over years. But that was the first time, and so. That I didn't really pursue it. Maybe I should have taken it more seriously at that time, but I did not. So that's my bad. The zoning changes happened. It was interesting because when this whole subdivision was built, the outside lots were okay for commercial, for light commercial, and then everything else was residence. And so the board saying that lot number 9 could be used as parking, we didn't even address zoning, and we didn't even know that it was zoned. In fact, it was changed, the zoning was changed to public without the knowledge of the Mountain View subdivision. I don't even know how that happens, but it did. And so we were unaware of this problem until Barbara noticed that it was public, and she couldn't sell that lot even if it was public, and so she asked that it be changed to light commercial. And I didn't really know about it until it came up in the city council meeting, and we as members, there's quite a few members here from the subdivision, and we all do not want another commercial establishment within the boundaries of our neighborhood. I'm sure that people in Cross Timber or one of the other subdivisions around the area would hate to have a business put in the middle of their businesses, in the middle of their homes. So that's bad. So the zoning change was requested by Garden Valley Senior Center in 2021. That request is denied for lot 9, as you already mentioned, Jeff. And now we're here to reconsider again. So one of the things I want to say is, as a subdivision, we charge for road improvement and maintaining of the roads, and we also charge for water. That's all we do. We're supposed to, enforce restrictive covenants as well. And I think, Barbara probably has given you a list of the things that we've done wrong. In fact, I think, Barbara, you should move the neighborhood and be president, because you'd be a really good enforcement.
No, thank you.
Yeah, I think you would. I know what a great job Barbara and the volunteers do for the senior center, so I think it'd be great for that too. But I think you can see, when you look at this subdivision road, the only commercial properties are out on the Middle Fork, which is a county road. All these roads in yellow here are residential roads, and lot number 9 is only surrounded by residential roads. The residents shouldn't have to pay for roads for a commercial establishment, period. And as Terry mentioned, we don't really have the water to support a commercial establishment at lot number 9 as well.
One more minute.
What's that?
One more minute.
One more minute? Okay, very good. The value of the lot could be valuable more as commercial than residential, don't know. Although we've had 2 different real estate agents in our last subdivision meeting say they didn't think it would go for much different, if at all. We're about ready to have a crash, so maybe you have to sell this property right away before the crash. Of course, my timing was not right. But anyway, so bottom line is, all the residents of Mountain View subdivision are unanimous that they want this lot to be residential only. We cannot have a commercial establishment, we can't support the roads, we can't support the water, and it's just not right.
Thank you, Chris. Next I have,
Can I make a point too?
you signed in and said that you're here to testify. Next I have is Pam. Pam Edmiston. Okay,
Do I need to say?
whatever you prefer. We're right here, so your call.
I called up Severance. Her husband's father's going to develop our subdivision, and she was adamant about the things that Barbara said that were wrong. And then she just said that that lot was 20 years it's been not residential. Well, that's not true either. I just want to say that, we've been there 18 years. Never had any issues with the senior center until now. I don't know why they want to be persistent in making that lot commercial. I think if Barbara lived in our subdivision, she would be adamant to keep it residential. So I just think it's unfair, and that's all I have to say.
Okay, thank you very much. Next one I have is Cindy.
I have nothing new to add. You guys did a great job, but yes, residential. It needs to be residential. It just does not make sense at all, logistically, anything. But everybody, you guys did such a great job. I have nothing additional. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, this is, everyone's signed in, so I'm just getting through who has said yes and who is not. This one is, I think it's Julia. Sorry, Julie, 616 Packertown, sorry. Cursive, I'm not really. Sorry, Julie.
That's fine. I was asked as a realtor to give some information on that, and I actually reached out to my broker in my office, it's Val Jones, and she did not get back with me on the response, but Jim said the commercial, the location is not conducive to a commercial property, and even if it was, it wouldn't, if you're talking about you want to do it for selling value, you really aren't going to have a price variance, because we're not like Boise, we don't have the commercial value. If you were on a major corridor and you had that value there, you could probably ask more for it. But right now, the way Garden Valley is in Boise County, and especially where that location is, it would probably sell quicker anyway as a residential versus a commercial. And there really wouldn't be a price difference, and use of where it's at. The location is not in a good area to drive business up that direction. So that was his opinion, and that's kind of what I've been hearing from other agents as well. That just wanted to share that.
Okay, thank you. Scott?
Hey, I'm Scott Leslie, 616 Piper John. Last time I basically said, don't approve it. My feelings are, it's not for commercial, it should be residential. I talked about the parking and all the traffic. And then it came back through email that I'm against it. I am not against the senior center. The senior center does a great thing. We have the property right across from the senior center. We bought that thing when we got old. That would be a great place to move in. We're going back and forth. When we bought the other property over there, I've always been told that that was for the parking lot. My big issue is parking. There's times where you could not pull a pickup and a trailer to get to my house because there's parking on both sides. We really need to make sure that if it does get approved, that there's no parking on the road. The other thing is why has it come down to city council trying to make a decision for something that our CC&Rs say no about? It should be up to us to say no, not you guys being drugged into the mud to have to say no. But what everybody else said, good job.
I think lastly I have here is Dave.
The other thing is, could you, was maybe the traffic, and I guess that's different.
Dave, sorry, this is Dave Hinson of 328 Patrick John Drive.
I'm
Sorry.
But I think it would bring in quite a bit of extra traffic, because somebody, I didn't know that place was, I lived up here for 4 years before I even knew there was anything back there. You know, that subdivision, there's enough people drive through looking anyway. So I think it would be a big increase of traffic through the whole subdivision. That's what I want to say.
Thank you. I'm just gonna go through this one more time really fast. Just make sure we got everybody that said that they did want to testify. Okay, looks like we got them all. At this time, do we give Barbara a chance to do whatever she needs to?
Yes. I'm not already listed, I'd like to say something. My name is Steve Edison.
What's your address, sir?
What's that?
For the record, what's your address?
503 Campus Jones.
Thank you. And go ahead.
All right. I don't know how many of you people knew Les Shepard, but I knew him.
You got to talk to the board.
I knew him. He's a very nice man. When he originally developed this subdivision in 78, 79, he intentionally put all the commercial lots on the outskirts of the subdivision for traffic purpose and noise and so forth. So that's why he put all the commercial lots on the outside, not inner part of the subdivision. Now, how many people here, Barbara, do you want a commercial lot next to you where you got a lot of noise and stuff?
Sir, if you could please just address the panel.
What?
Just address us, thank you.
Yeah, I'm just no hillbilly, I don't know. What I'm supposed to do.
Just talk to us at the table, I think.
I'm asking her a question. Can I ask her a question?
Please.
I can't?
No, thank you.
Forgive me, I'm sorry.
No worries.
So, that's why us living there, and that's why he developed that to be the way it is.
Okay.
All commercial lots on the outskirts. That property has always been residential since day one. They set that up to be, like he said, a parking lot, not a commercial company for overflow. Like I said, there's times you can't even get in down to our place. You gotta squeeze through there because the traffic build up out there. Citizens do good things. I agree. They should have used that what it was used, meant to be, overflow parking. That's it, not commercial. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, at this time, Barbara, we'll give you the floor. You can have a few minutes
Thank
to
you.
do whatever you'd like to do with whatever.
First off, I'd like to let an HOA know that I'm not against them. It's nothing personal. I've been asked by the senior center to do a job, and that's what I've been trying to do. I did ask that the council consider a mixed use. I never thought when I set out to do this, 14 months ago was when I first tried to file this application. I never thought that the HOA would take issue with this because the HOA is who has treated Lot 9 as commercial. As far as the zoning, I guess I'd like to address this page per page. So discussion points on the water. That was developed in 1989, the CCNR that referred to Lot 9 as residential is 1995. I did not zone it as public. The city of Crouch in 2008 did a citywide zoning, and for whatever reason, they zoned the senior center and Lot 9 as public. We're not public. It's a nonprofit commercial business. So I set out to correct the city's zoning. I didn't set out to create a war with anyone. The city council, HOA, no one. As far as the water, the 1989 water, I just asked why didn't the HOA take issue with pay it forward with Ted Dumont's car wash, who uses a heck of a lot more water, and it's not even on this map.
They don't use our water.
Please.
Go ahead, Barbara, please.
And the gym is also involved in that. Prior to the senior center buying Lot 1, that was developed as a butcher shop, I believe is what it was built. And the senior center came in, purchased it, and remodeled it. Lot 9 was purchased at a later date in 2002 it was a various few reasons. The center had to shut down for COVID for a year and a half with absolutely no income, and finances got pretty tight. So the thought to sell Lot 9, that's when it came up. If anyone in the community would like to fix that lot and develop it and create it into a parking spot, I would love to use it as the center. But the center can't afford to maintain it. That's just bottom line. It's weeds right now. And water's been on that lot, I don't know for how long as I know.
2016.
2016 is when the water went to the lot. And so, I don't know about rates and all of those things. I do understand where the HOA is coming from. I do. I get it. And Craig and I have had many conversations. He also understands where I come from. So the request to reconsider was because I felt that some errors were made. I do appreciate the HOAs reaching out and not charging the center as of April or the hearing, the water rates or the commercial dues on that lot. So I do appreciate that. Any price break we can get, I will take. The concern I have is the CCNRs are not enforced across the board. If they were enforced across the board, I would be the first Indian to become in line and abide by the rules, because that's what I did my whole career, is enforce rules. But they're not. And when you have arbitrarily enforced rules of any kind, it's discrimination. Just plain and simple, it's discrimination. So I don't know any other way to put that out there. During the last hearing, that was my concern. That is my concern today. I guess that's all I have. That's just my concern.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Jeff, this might be closed then.
Yeah.
Do we?
Yep.
Okay.
Sir?
At this point, we're gonna,
make a correction on what you said.
we do not, sorry, not at this point, we cannot do that. We're gonna close the public hearing.
No.
Hearing is
Car
now-
wash has their own oil. They have their own oil.
Where's my, cheat sheet? Here. Nice. All right. Next on our list to do is move on to our consent agenda. Did everyone get a chance to review the minutes and payables from the regular meeting from May? And does anyone have any questions or concerns there? If not, we'd like to see a motion to approve our consent agenda.
Make a motion to approve consent agenda.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Yes.
All right. Any opposed? All right. Motion passed. I'm gonna steal this item. First item up is water issues, water master report.
All good.
Okay.
I agree with the Coughlin, Joe Coughlin's here. When we did the project, the Coughlins were given a connection over here at Billy Bob's.
Yeah.
And they called me the other day to make sure that was still intact. And as far as I know, it is still intact. I remember they had to come back up and put that in months after the project was finished. They made them come back up and put that in there, so there was an agreement made with the Coughlins and the city for the easement on that road with that connection going down. It is included in the total count of CEUs that were working with, so that is included in that.
The one goes across the road here by the shade?
It is, yeah. But Joe, when you comment that, we can't find that in writing.
Well, why don't you stop by City Hall next week and give me a call from there and take a look.
Okay.
Thanks, Terry.
So I would assume he's looking to sell the property with that connection.
Sorry, say that again.
I'm assuming that he can go ahead and sell that property with that connection.
We shouldn't make that assumption until we see it.
Okay.
Next is, the city council would have a discussion, possibly make a decision on the rezoning of the senior center property. Council will open that up to you to discuss or deliberate. You want to have anything to say, how you feel?
I personally think the decision should stand, would not be zoned as commercial. If they want to make that into a parking area, I'd say that would be wonderful for everybody involved. But I have not heard any evidence, additional evidence to support changing that to commercial, in my opinion.
Anybody else? Jeff, should we go ahead and, doesn't seem like anyone else has any input on that, do we even need to do like a vote?
Yeah, you do need to know that because there was a request to reconsider. So your prior decision was to deny the application of rezone.
Okay.
And so you are considering evidence that the applicant provided to rescind that decision and go ahead and do the rezone. And then you had testimony opposing. The legal standard is to consider the comprehensive plan, which doesn't really, it just talks in general about zoning areas as one type of use and another type of use. That's all. This was zoned as public pursuant to when the city initially adopted its zoning ordinance. And so there was a public hearing held. I think we reviewed those minutes maybe at the last meeting before. So the public zone is a little odd, limited. It's the uses in that zone are limited to basically a cemetery or park or
Okay.
and part of the lot is would be consistent with using it as an auxiliary senior center.
Okay.
I don't have anything. The legal standard of the state code is after considering the comp plan and evidence at the meeting, or evidence during the hearing when the city council can make a decision. I remember written finding the fact and including the law.
Well, it didn't sound like anyone else had anything to discuss, or as a council, do I just go ahead and see if there's a motion, or excuse me, or just vote to?
Well, the council members can continue to deliberate about the evidence they received if they wish. And you can ask each of the council members what
If they want to.
if they
What
see if there's a motion.
Well, Steve told us how he feels. How do you feel?
I love the senior center. I go there for bingo. But as a resident, I am putting myself in the resident's shoes, and I wouldn't want a commercial lot either. So I'm kind of on the fence of agreeing with the residents.
Okay. Clay?
I am a resident of Mount Ulis subdivision, and I can make it a partial vote, but regardless of where that
Lot 9 would be in any other subdivision. I don't feel it should be zoned commercial. It just distracts from really the intended use at first, and just the amenities that we had enjoyed there. So regardless of where that subdivision would be, I would vote to deny the request.
Okay. That's 3, so I guess there's no need to do anything further than, I suppose, unless
You should have a motion and a roll call vote
on what they,
on upholding or reversing the initial vote.
so we need a motion to either uphold our decision from last time or a motion to re-vote. Do we have a motion, please?
I would make a motion that that our decision stand and not be zoned commercial.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, I'm going to do a roll call vote, and I will have Laura Alexander step out of that. So Clay Smith,
It's a reject.
saying yes to Steve, saying yes to Steve.
Yes.
Steve McInnes, sorry,
Yes.
and Alexander Shepherd.
Yeah.
Okay, motion passed. All right, next is a request for proposal for a water master contract. The water master contract has expired as of March 31st. The city is requesting proposals from interested persons and parties, including the current water master. Do we have a motion to request proposals for the city water master? Just need a motion to request the contracts from people. I know.
There is discussion and rezoning.
New business, down in the first yellow business.
New business?
New business, yeah, so we have our water master contract is expired with Terry. We're just looking to open that up for reapply, and if anyone else out there wants to. Anyone willing to make a motion on this? Showing us.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor? Any opposed? Okay, motion passed. We'll get proposals in from different water masters, and on the next agenda, or next month's agenda, we'll put down and we'll review and make a selection at that point for a water master. Yes, we'll review application and make a selection likely.
Yeah.
You don't turn in a proposal, then you get.
Nice to meet you.
We're just talking about it.
Oh, yeah.
They were talking about.
You know, I have to really look into this. I've never signed a contract other than about 10 years ago. And it's always just kind of rolled over. So, I don't know why we're doing one now.
I think we've wanted to in the past, and for whatever reason, we just haven't followed through and been thrown on that, but
You had one, you signed
I thought we had,
last year, and it expired.
it expired in March.
But that one we got signed up here that expired for a while long anyway.
Yeah, I didn't realize you had to read it every year.
Because that's just actually.
What's your email?
Trevor?
Well, I can't tell you all that.
Your contract, so you can see what it says.
No, I just saw it.
Oh,
I mean, it doesn't matter.
He signed it.
I just took it out of the file. That's the only one I had in the file.
Oh, interesting. So yeah, it's expired.
And I have the file.
Okay. Did we do the motion? We already did all that. Okay. I think we're at the liquor catering permit.
Yeah, it's all in your file.
This is thing here. Payette Brewing Company wants to come up, and I think this is for the kayakers. So they want to, isn't that what it's for? Right?
Yeah, Northport Championship.
You speak a little louder, that was too loud, sorry.
The question I have is, are we going to go ahead and get permits and all that stuff in the park for the
For the park? The question is, does it matter, is what you're asking?
Last year, we got vendor permits and everything for the park. Everybody said this is where they're going to be, and rooms are going to be there. And they need that alcohol catering permit.
But it's not our jurisdiction, is what you're saying. So do we?
Well, there's that, is it or isn't it?
Well, it has been treated like that, and we will do that until something changes.
Okay, so
Like Jeff would be.
like last year, and I'll get all the permits and,
The only question that comes to mind is what do you do with that 2% city tax, which,
I gave it a week to put on.
okay, I need to talk, I think I need to talk to Jeff. Zoe, he stepped down and, I just want to just make sure that that's,
This is what Jody's waiting on.
yeah, I understand. Well, that's
What happened?
So
nothing yet.
if we have to do it, if you want to approve it, I've already got the,
I don't personally have an issue, I just want to look up the realities of like potential jurisdiction and collecting a tax outside of what could potentially be outside of our jurisdiction. I just need to talk
They're
about
on
it.
the city side.
And that's debatable. I mean, we could get into it again, which is where is the boundary? And that's the great street.
see, all the different permits too, it's the same thing. They're,
Jeff,
It's like-
Yes, sir.
so Payette Brewing Company is coming up to the park, and they are okay doing the city tax. The question comes, being in or outside our jurisdiction, is that an issue you're just not worried about?
Where they, doing it?
In the park, Bill Munster,
So, the way the city boundaries are today, the way we consider them today is the way, because that has not yet been settled. So, the city boundaries are.
and they've done it, they did it last year. The only difference is that this year, what I mean is the liquor catering permit, we did give them. So there was a establishment that we had jurisdiction in there.
Right.
My only thought is now there's that 2%, which they were okay with, it sounds like Bonnie says they came and filled that out.
Right.
Are we okay to just go ahead and make this happen then? Okay. So we need a motion then to approve the liquor catering permit for the Payette Brewing Company.
Trevor.
Sorry.
okay, also that includes all those vendor permits, we're just gonna do it just like last year. Everybody that's selling anything in the park, they've gotten their.
Yes.
Well, food ready to eat. Only food
One
ready to
thing,
eat.
one thing I need to know, and we can do this later on in the agenda, is just, I need to know if when official correspondence that I'm going to start with the county, the tax commissions, what is this, you don't have to decide tonight, but I just want some guidance from you on what your position is. If it turns out that that boundary ends up being adjusted from the top all the way down, does the city choose to assert that they want to retain jurisdiction on the park or not?
I don't-
Just think about that.
Yeah.
We don't have to do it tonight, but I just want to.
Okay.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
I have no qualms about the permits and stuff, but it's almost like a subdivision. How can a city request city permits for vending permits if it's a county property?
So if it's not, well, this is the thing. The city boundary is legally where it is today, and it has been for 70 years. And what we have now is a legal question that is unsettled as to whether or not certain pieces of property are actually within that boundary or not. But that's not a definitive.
But it's a minute section of the park, isn't it?
It is. And that has come before this body before in 2013. And so the line is where it is. And so the park is owned by the Garden Valley Recreation District. So part of the city boundary is within, part of the park is within the city limits and part of it is not.
Right. And I could see charging a vendor permit if the vendor was on city property. In the park, on city property.
You mean in the city limits or on
Yeah.
property? Okay, yeah, and that's what we're doing, the way I understand it. But Steve had it, I think had it.
Yeah, the 2013 issue was not about the park. It was about property owned by Mr. Woolminster off of Banks Loman Road.
Oh, not the park property?
No, I did a public request for the document to prove that, but the computer system is that down.
No,
It-
it's
it
still
is.
down.
That's a true statement. It was because
No.
RV Park was gonna go in up there.
Right.
Okay,
And nothing to do with the
that's
park.
helpful. That's
Has nothing to do with the park.
okay.
And I can drop another little hint that at the Parks and Rec board meeting, they voted to send a letter to the city stating that they're going to operate as though they're not in the city until the city can prove to them that they legally are in the city.
Perfect. That's what we need.
Yeah.
Very helpful. Okay. All right.
So at this point,
At this point,
I'm okay with them coming, but I just don't know, should we,
they're in the city
okay,
until.
until further notice
So we got to dial city.
and fight it out?
Yeah.
Okay, so we just basically then need a motion to approve this liquor catering permit that you have before you hear this copy. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion to approve the catering permit.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Any opposed? Sounds like motion passed. Okay. Next is employee pay date. Mr. Manning had presented us, I believe all of us, or was it just me now, I can't remember, wanting to set kind of a precedent that staff can expect to be paid by a certain time every month, kind of make it more consistently than we've been doing. Just kind of have like a set regulated date. And I think, what date do you have? Was it the 10th?
The pay period is from the first of the month to the end of the month. The pay date will be the 10th of the following month.
The 10th of the following month, so
Did you guys, you received the council communication today?
I did, I just don't.
No, it's just on everything.
We did.
Okay,
And if those things aren't included in your council packet, they will be. If you're not with it all,
I just,
that's a very document you have to turn over.
okay.
But that's what the gist of it is, just establish.
But set a date, instead of just,
Because right now it's floating more from the 8th to the 15th.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
what it doesn't quite fit. That's what we're deciding.
yeah, now we cover our backs too much, so I personally like that.
What if the 10th?
Who pays the day before? So what's really going to happen is that regardless of when the camp is, Saturday, Friday, if we meet on Wednesday, the check will be available on that Wednesday.
Basically, that city council,
That's it.
well, or the week before, and I can kind of sign those two. And I'm just
We're
gonna-
not, like you sign the check today, we're not gonna hold it to this camp and say, hey, we got the check. We don't
And I'm
have it.
okay with that, if you,
Yeah, no,
you go do stuff,
no,
fix it through Samuel.
you didn't sign up for it yet.
Okay, all right, so basically what, do we need a motion for that, Jeff? To establish a precedent of just having standard pay date of the city? Okay, so.
Did I not type up the resolution?
Yeah, there's a resolution, but
I don't,
I don't know if you used it
I don't know if I-
here or not.
We don't have to.
there was a, I did never see in the resolution, but I don't have it printed out.
I don't know if you do things by resolution.
You can.
We could just make a motion
Doesn't
to,
hurt.
doesn't hurt, okay, I have it on my phone, I just gotta pull
Or
it.
you prepare
You
it.
just make it, what I would suggest for this purpose of this is just make a motion and pass it.
Okay.
We need to do a resolution over.
All right, so we need a motion to make the 10th of every month the established pay date for the city workers. We have a motion
For the pay period.
for the pay period of the previous month.
I can make that motion that our city employees at this point, clerk, treasurer, get paid on the 10th of the month following the month of April.
We have a second. Second. All in favor?
yes.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passed. All right, old business. First is speed limit monitoring. I have been working with Curtis Fry at the Dirty Shame, former police officer, has some contacts. He's reaching out. He could potentially be snagging one for us, but it won't be later. It kind of just depends on how him and his contact down in Arizona can work out getting a trailer type one that I've seen them on Glenwood a lot. Those kind of speed ones that flash if people are speeding. Personally, I have a request that maybe we could consider. I just don't know how we would implement this and the cost. Don't hope it would be too tremendous. Sometimes I just feel like we need an extra this 25-mile-an-hour sign somewhere between this curve heading towards that straightaway towards the dirty shame and out of town, maybe both ways. I feel like that straightaway is a spot that people, like, it's tons of 6-speed plates. I mean, it's almost infuriating, and, you know, I'm out there mowing or whatever, and I'm like, hey, you know, so then whatever. I genuinely think people just don't see. There's only, as far as I can tell, there used to be one, there's not many in the city anymore. I think one got hit by a plow truck. I swear there used to be one between here and my house on the right side. I'm sure there was, but I think the plow took it out. I could be wrong. But I just feel like those straightaways need a little more assistance or something before, if we can't get speed radar type signs, because those are a little more expensive, just a standard 25-mile-an-hour limit sign, just to start.
Okay, Mayor,
Sir, ma'am, sorry.
here's what I was gonna do. I looked up on Amazon and they have this 5" by 8.5" orange flags on these little sticks that, I don't know if I can do it, we could put them on the back of the speed limit.
Yeah, I've
signs.
seen
I
those.
keep hearing people saying, I didn't even see the sign.
Coming in, you don't see it up really out banks,
So
that turns.
for even the ones you can see and there's reduced speed ahead, the orange would catch their eye and they can't say that they didn't see it, at least they would be aware of it.
Yeah.
They're $9.
And you could pull those flags off once the snow starts coming. That's
Exactly.
quick.
And there's like 25 flags for $9 and it, so there's 5
Not a huge deal.
It's cheap and it might catch their eye and it may make them slow down.
How does the council feel about that, but maybe looking at another, do you guys, am I just crazy? Like, oh, like I'm the only one, I mean, yeah.
I thought we talked about having the flashing solar ones.
Did you get with Wayne Melick on the flashing sign? You want me to? I can go on.
I did a lot of research on that, they're very, very expensive, and
Even having him just come out with like some sort of like flashing something.
But didn't we find them for like 700?
Still,
There has to be, yeah, on that solar.
that's uninstalled.
yeah. What about just the standards? Possibly. Scott?
If you put the flags in, it's gotta be coming into town before the shade.
Yeah. That,
Because in other words, everybody's gonna be picking up and throwing them. You know, just the speed limit sign, my thought is, it's gonna be ignored just like the rest of them. Everybody's gonna see it at first, and it's just because you know they're out there, other people know they're out there, we just drive the speed. If you don't wanna spend the money to put up some electronic flashing thing to say this how fast you're going, put a speed bump in it. With, if you put the shallow ones in that are longer, like if they put at the hospital and stuff, they can plow them. You put the tiny little ones like this, they're gonna blow them off. The long ones are about 2 feet across, 6 inches high, the plows will go off.
Can you make them out of snow?
I think Scott, I think you, me, and Tim get together. I like some of your ideas, and we'll figure something out here. So, I don't know, like, maybe he's right. Maybe people will just blatantly disregard the law too, and that becomes like a citizen thing of phoning non-emergency dispatch and phone bomb until they do what they're supposed to, or something. I'm not sure. I mean, I know they're strapped though too.
Or buy the little fluorescent little kid.
We're got those coming in the mail here. I don't know when they'll get here. My wife ordered some already because we're just sick of it. And we're out there today. It's crazy. So.
Can I say anything?
Sure.
I was just gonna say, yeah, I think they'll blow right by too, because people that are doing it are the speeders, they don't
They
care.
just don't care.
You can tell coming in to Crouch that this is not a speedway. You know, this is a small town, that's why they're coming here. So I think they're just ignorant. And nothing is going to stop them, not even tickets, but they can keep paying the tickets. But I like the speed bumps like this.
Yeah, it's true. All right.
Is the reason why the people kind of obey the speed limit going through Horseshoe Bend?
I think they pay for extra enforcement.
Is it because sometimes it's enforced?
It is enforced.
They have extra enforcement on their
Yeah, is that the reason why,
We're just not paying enough, you know? I mean, it's hard, you're gonna pay them for what they're doing it, but they're just short-handed.
I very seldom see people speed, that 25, I very seldom see speeders go through that.
They're going up on their speed. They're working, and I don't know if you know if I go to Boyd too often.
35.
It's supposed to be 35, and they're doing like 40, you get to the 25, and they're doing like 30, because they're not ticketing as much anymore.
No, they let them go.
I did have a chance to talk to a Boise County deputy one night concerning the crowds.
Oh.
He made it clear with the speed limit prior to our suspended.
So you're smart, at least you don't do it here.
Not issuing a citation.
Did you write that on your ticket so you know?
You got out of it. All right, let's move on to our new computer update. How is that thing?
Well, we got an update to the update.
Oh,
Also, and you received a council communication regarding the new computer update, which basically said, did you receive
I
it?
did.
Okay.
It's just,
Basically said that right now is a low priority because we're dealing with other things, but we got it was received. We got it hooked up to the network. After we type up this communications, print it, send it, then the computer that I was using developed issues. So the new laptop is now high priority and is functional. We use it today for QuickBooks. So we'll get the office software into it.
Okay.
As the other one prohibits me from using it.
okay. Do we need a second one then? Another? The school, okay, the school might have some surpluses too, we can probably get, okay, so we're okay.
We had a problem, email, yes.
Is to share these directories so that we can, things work better.
These don't break.
It's pointing to go back.
So,
Okay,
but there's no further
so we're
council
good.
action needed on the new laptop.
Good,
It's working.
great. Thank you both.
And it saved us today.
Good. Glad to hear it. Okay. Update on hiring new employee. I don't know. That's something I needed. We needed a executive session, that was it. So I just got okay, we'll move on. Schedule delegation road committee report, anything going on there next week?
No, just what we had with the third.
Okay. All right, Crouch Garden Valley Museum board report.
Well, there's not a lot to say as of yet, but I contacted all the people that you had given me. One lady could not do it after all, but everybody else, and then I recruited one more person.
Yeah.
So we got our 5
You say you got 5.
We got our 5 bodies committed. We're tentatively going to meet on June 15th at 5 o'clock.
Okay.
I wanted to clear that we're okay to use the room.
Are you meeting in there
That's
to
what
clean
we're
it too, or?
To clean it?
I was asking, and do you need help? I cleaned it last summer, but they might need.
Oh, you're talking about in the museum
They
itself?
might need it again, at
Okay.
least Tucker.
Oh, yeah. We'll get together and see what we need to get done.
Okay.
Yeah, it does need to be cleaned up.
Are you guys gonna be building a schedule too, of who's gonna be in there at different times and different days?
Yeah, we'll be doing that. But one of the other things I needed to ask you, we need access to the computer. Or at least one of us needs access to the computer, because that's where all the documents are. So,
Is there like a bunch of historical type documents?
well, hopefully there is,
Okay.
because they're not, they haven't been kept up in my old stuff that I pulled out of there. There should be documents, gift documents, or loan documents. and
Oh, as far as
stuff
who
like that.
owns it?
All that stuff in there.
Oh, so like you're talking like for cataloging purposes?
Yeah,
I see.
yeah, you have to
Yes,
have
no, we
those.
do have that, I know, I just don't know. Is that on the computer or is that
You don't
physical?
know, but your previous offer about a computer from the school, I think we should get that.
I can look into it, yeah, they're getting some new stuff, so I'll put in a word for that tech guy.
Okay.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, for those purposes especially, we could get you your own personal with access to those documents. And I know we do have them, I just don't remember if
Yeah,
they're
you can
digital
send
or
a
not.
folder to me.
Yeah,
And
that
then-
too.
Yeah,
look for those and look on Google Drive and throw on Google Drive and then
Right,
give
we'll
her.
look for them, because we don't want to just hand over the computer.
No, I know.
We'll send out what is for.
If anything, are you looking just for the cataloging for the items in the
So
museum?
whatever they found in there, we really need
For the,
to know what we
so
got.
any museum stuff, I'm okay with that.
Right.
And just create a Google Doc thing, whatever you think is easiest, they just do web-based, and then they can just do it from their phones and stuff.
I'm
That'd be great.
assuming there's a museum
I will,
folder.
yeah, that's what I
You
would
just send
think.
like.
I just haven't sat down on it here in a little while, can't
Yeah.
remember, so. I'm really glad, I'm really grateful. And you can take my name and number off the door when you get those. I have a texter called Trevor anytime to come see the museum. I get people, and I do come over quite a bit, and I'll bring my kids or whatever, and it's quite fun to meet good people.
Oh, yeah.
So, but it'd be nice to have regular hours for that, for sure.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
what else do you need from us?
Let's see, a copy of the budget would be nice, so we know what we've
We
got.
can get that too, for the museum has its own budget, yeah, we can do that.
And I think that's all we need at this point. One of the things we were wondering, and I don't know if anybody on the board knows, has anybody written up anything for the tour?
Like a spiel?
Yeah.
I don't know of any, no.
No? Okay. All right. So yeah, we're gonna work on that too, to
Okay.
give people some ideas of what this is all about.
Okay. Are you looking to form the board by like next city council meeting as well? Okay, can we put that on the agenda to establish a museum board, I guess is what we're doing?
And then I looked through the documents, we've still got the bylaws and everything that we can use from before.
Okay.
I didn't notice anything new in there, so. yeah.
If you need help with cleaning and whatnot, let's get together on getting volunteers or putting the word out on Facebook or whatever.
Okay.
Get some bodies in there. I tackled it all by myself and it was a 2-day job. But
Yeah.
I don't think it's as bad because I was doing like 5 to 6 years of dust. This is just
Yeah.
1 year now. We'll
Yeah.
see.
Yeah, it's not horrible,
Hopefully.
it does need dusting and cleaning up.
Okay, cool. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
I got a question. The museum then is not part of the city. It's not a government deal, it's a private thing.
Yeah,
And so the board, the council's been acting more or less as the board of the museum. It's supposed to be
Interim,
how the
yeah.
budget's set up, because I can just pull the museum catalog out of the budget.
There should be a separate private budget for the museum. I don't know.
Different account.
I know we've had, like when she was telling us, like, this is what its budget is sitting at currently,
Right.
as far as that.
There's an account for the museum.
Right, and that's that,
That's
that's,
separated outside of the government budget.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but it's still part of the city, not the bank account, the museum.
I'm not.
That's the way it was established.
I believe it's a separate entity from the city hall.
And if it's not, it probably ought to be.
Correct, so at one point, I can't remember if this came up before.
I think it was because COVID had just shut down, and I felt bad that we weren't doing
I think
anything.
it's a separate 501c3 with its own incorporation.
I think
We
so.
can research that in the records and double check.
Yeah.
It should
Or was
be.
that the art center?
What's that?
Because we peeled off the art center, but I didn't think we peeled off the museum.
Yeah, because it's got all the
I think it was
items.
attached to us.
Okay,
All
but in
potential.
fact, it could be part of,
I think,
it could be part of the city, and it might be separate. I don't know the answer.
if it is part of the city, do you want to?
We made it part of the city when we created it.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
No, that's what I thought.
Should we-
Peel off the art
Should
gallery.
we keep it on then?
I don't know, I need to see
Okay.
how it was created,
Okay.
read the documents that were created.
Yeah, like I said, like to read.
Is John McFadden still, are you in the same law firm as John McFadden?
No, but we took it over from him, but he was, yeah, I'm familiar with his.
Okay.
All right. Next is unscheduled delegations. I'd like to go into an executive session, so.
Yeah, we have an unscheduled.
Sorry. Sorry.
I'm just gonna bring it up again, third time. So basically, I was talking with the DEQ folks, and they do all of the analysis and approval for sewer, water, all that kind of stuff. So I guess the question is, does the city want me to submit the civil engineering plan so that you have a copy of them? Because the DEQ is the approving authority, so I did clarify that as you go forward out there. And then I have the planning for the RV park complete. So does the city want to have that plat showing all 60 RV pads and stuff like that for your records also?
I would think, yeah.
Yes, please, yeah.
Okay, all right. And then just assuming now the city is okay with the DEQ
Yep.
being the approving authority for all of this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, thanks, Tim. All right, so again, I'm looking for a roll call, a motion first to enter into executive session pursuant to Idaho Code 74-206-1A.
Make a motion, we go into executive session.
Do you have a second? Second. Okay, Clay, thank you. Roll call vote. Laura Alexander.
Yes.
Clay Smash. So we're back in regular session. Is resuming. So we are, okay. Testing. Well, okay. We are back in regular session. Actions following the executive session. We need a motion. What was it? Yeah, we need a motion to give Steve Radigan our employment agreement. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we give him employment agreement.
We have a,
Whatever you guys work out.
That we allow Trevor to do it in employment agreement.
or is that? Okay,
I'll second.
okay. Roll call vote? Or just, okay, all in favor?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Any opposed? Okay.
Good question.
Steve didn't have
So they gave him the authority to sit down with you and draw the employment agreement, so you can figure out how you want to do it, how long and all that stuff.
For the length of time, you can't say, oh, it doesn't look like that's the deal.
Yeah. Okay, clerk report.
Oh, Mike wondered, I asked you already, Mayor, if they can set up some little vendor things right here in front of the Tucker Building away.
Yeah, what were they, what vendors were they specifically doing?
It's kind of overflow from in here.
Oh.
He said he
I
had
don't
extra pizza,
see a
he wanted to
problem
set
with
up
that.
in there, and I told him I think it would be okay, but I want to make sure that it was okay with everybody.
How does the council feel about it? So it's just overflow from a vendor thing happening in here, I guess. It's just gonna get big. Okay, yeah, that's,
Oh. I've had a few people ask, could a petition be started by the community up here to get Starlight, whoever owns that property, to clean up the mess?
So, okay,
it's a statute.
so that was one of the emails that you sent me that I replied to that you didn't get. So, no. But there's an enforcement mechanism that's available, but you and I should chat about that. But a petition isn't proper.
Another lady, she lives by you, Steve, she was asking about the dark sky ordinance because her house is behind that H5 ranch thing.
Who is that? Because someone at the library was talking to me about this too. I was gonna put it on the agenda, but I didn't get it in time to put it on this week's agenda. I was supposed to do that.
Yeah, because she said she was concerned right now, the lights off that little barn thing, she can still see them. That concerned her, because it shines in her backyard and stuff. She also, she's not the only one, people are kind of concerned about traffic. If they have a large wedding or some kind of an event there and it lasts, kind of into the night, people have been drinking and there's a lot of noise, just the traffic on.
They have a planning zone next week, where people can share their opinion.
And see, we've got the thing over in the office. It's just that it does affect the traffic coming down this way and going back through Crouch, so maybe if you wanted to attend it or just kind of keep an eye on how that goes, because that will affect our town here as far as people
We're working on that. We're getting lighting, so we need to go back to 2 or 3, so we'll, just buy one, just get a nice, so you can find a nice weatherproof one too, and last, hopefully.
The only other thing is community service came down from Idaho City with some local donations that they do with community service. So they cleaned, they pulled her weeds, they kind of trimmed around. She said they'll get a trimmer, they pulled it there. She'll try to get a trimmer, they come by here. They offered to clean the Tucker building inside, but I heard these are younger kids or juveniles.
Yeah, there's a shotgun.
I said, "Speaking of that, I said, no, good."
It's not,
She said, "We have anything?" Who knows? She'll bring some back over. 'Cause
Really?
Yeah, she's always.
Is it young kids you sent, or youth, you mean?
Yeah, they're younger. They're juvenile. Yeah.
Cool.
Probably student, but they're juvenile. People could be on the student probation too, being adult. That's all.
Okay, thank you. When are they coming back? Curious.
I don't know for sure.
Will you call me? Can you find out?
I've got her card at home.
Okay. Yeah, if they set up something, I'd like to talk to those kids and just see the program, and they're intrigued by that. It's kind of cool. I'm grateful that they're coming to our city.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just would add to that, there was an issue, and we noticed it at the last meeting when I sent something to Bonnie to print. And then throughout the month, and then I forgot about it, but Steve, I think, helped fix it. But there was a couple more today where I would send an email, or I would reply to an email she sent me, and it would not be received, because it's either going in different folders. And I almost called you to see if you could run down there to, like, hot shot it. But,
Sure.
so it's the way Outlook, and I'm not familiar with the way Outlook is set up in that computer, but, and Steve might be able to elaborate. There was a period of time where she'd send me, is this agenda look good? And I'd reply back, and then I'd likely follow up with a call. No, I didn't get it. I'm like, okay.
Can we switch the Gmail though in Yahoo?
Use Yahoo.
Yeah,
I think
I
our city
like Yahoo.
Well, our city emails, we were trying to use those, and I'm not even sure what's left on it.
It's at Frontier.
Yeah, Frontier.net, City of Crouch. I mean, unless this is old.
We were trying to do at cityofcrouch.org, I think.
So.
But it's not working. It's supposed to forward to your Gmail.
Well, no, I don't, it doesn't have anything to do with.
Sorry.
It's the Outlook folders are diverting somehow before it even gets here, I think. Is that, go ahead, Steve.
You went to spam, but we can understand. They're using Yahoo. That needs to be looked at.
Yeah.
And
Is that in your realm?
yes, I tried to contact, you're gonna see a lot of tricks in my bag. I contacted Janet, but I got no response. Somebody with more authority will probably have to make those phone calls.
I sent her email too, I got nothing.
Okay. So that's a serious problem, because there were time-sensitive things that, and some of them required specific wording, and so I was able to walk her through it, like,
Yes.
delete this and add this, but when I get a proposed agenda, I might need to delete and add, or specific wording in a public notice that has to be published in the paper, and that has to get to her and get back out.
Since this is borderline emergency, can we just create a Gmail account like cityofcrouch@gmail.com and let her have it just till we can figure this thing out? Or
I would not confuse the issue any more than it is.
Right.
Some of her emails coming in with just binary bits, not even knowing where they belong.
Today,
I
I
got
got
just
two
weird
of them.
stuff.
Seriously, one, if I had printed it or been this long, and it was just all these things that weren't even, it made no sense.
So it could be the server,
or security?
which is not our problem.
Right.
I wouldn't jump to a security problem
Okay.
yet. They're not using Outlook, I think it's part of the problem.
Right.
They use, we're looking at Yahoo Mail, that's some purple image. And, so once we get some caught up on this other
Okay.
money stuff, then I can look at those issues.
Okay.
But there is an issue there.
Yeah, all right. I just want to make sure you knew, I was gonna just send you down there on a motorcycle or something.
Yeah, and run over,
Right in there.
2 feet over. Okay, we need to figure that out. If you guys need anything, I think we we know some of those tech people in the area.
We need access, we need to know,
I thought I did.
we need to know who's the hosting agency for the new domains.
HostGator. Didn't I say that?
You might have, remember, I have your,
That's true, we got a lot of stuff. That 2 screenshots I sent you.
okay, got it.
Should be on there, but it's not, I'll give it to Janet tonight.
Okay.
I'll double check.
But, all right, we can work on that.
But I believe it's HostGator.
But the email is probably more important than the
Yes.
name. I don't know what was set up. I don't even know who's,
She said she was trying to set some emails up that would forward to our personal emails, but they still have that at cityofcrouch.org. So that there's that discrepancy, so like if anything, anyone wants records from our emails, they can have them all without us worrying about it. It's just public.
but we need to know who's that set up with.
I don't know.
That's.
Janet had it, I'll figure it out with Janet, I'll get you all that stuff.
Because that's, later on, I got that, so.
Treasurer?
Sorry. Miscellaneous and routine matters?
Do we have money, treasurer?
Okay,
I
yes.
wasn't on the agenda, so I threw the council communications under the miscellaneous and routine matters.
Okay.
Did you have a chance to review that?
Yes, you did.
Okay.
Right.
Well, first of all, let's do the treasurer's report then.
Okay.
Okay?
He emailed it to us.
Okay, I'm just gonna give you a summary of the total accounts. The balance is $205,000, $205,077.67. Our revenues for the month, I'm reporting from May 1st to May 30th. May 1st to May 31st. Our revenue was $2,980.74. I've broken down where the categories were, for your review, if interested. And we paid out $2,750.85. And you can also review as to what they were charged to. Made no transfers between accounts for that reporting period. But I did have a list of items for discussion. Okay. But before I jump to those, I put this in your packet just before the meeting. Okay, it gives you a snapshot of where the budget sits as of May 31st. The budget for the general fund added, well, the budget amount was $28,000 for the carryover. In fact, it was actually $87,281.53.
Wow.
Then the next, and I see no big flags or anything there. Except when I get down to the community hall, the budgeted income was $8,000. To date, we're at $830. Okay, and the expenditures is running at a little over 55% of what was budgeted. But the income is below, so.
That's just due to COVID.
Yeah, I don't know what the historic income was for that. Okay. And then we can just jump down to the water portion. The water is going to be a little bit more complicated because of the inner workings with the invoicing system, the way things are credited. You can't just do a search on accounts payable or receivable and find out people's name might be on the list, but they actually paid but never got into the system correctly. I will work on that.
Okay.
Did you see the carryover for the amount of $28,152.39? That was not included in the budget. And the same thing goes for the carryover from the street. It wasn't accounted for in the budget dollars, but it's a good thing because it's the money in the bank.
Yeah.
Okay. And then
Is everybody caught up on water? Maybe?
it's difficult to tell. I'm going to have to do a manual search. The Rural Water Association. I got the bill for that. It's a membership. You paid it in the past. Is that something the council desires to continue being a member of? Or is that the responsibility of the water master, his organization to be a member of? It's $150.
For like a year.
Yeah.
What's the benefit of it?
Well, that's really my question, that's why I raised the issue
Yeah,
here.
I've reviewed that a lot. I don't see any benefit from it myself. Terry might?
But then as
Terry should be a member.
he should remember.
Yeah.
Doesn't have anything to do with grants, something involved in it, we can apply for grants.
Well, let's just get it, when we get a grant ready, we're closer to that point.
No, I think it's got more to do with, running bills through the state, the state trying to get bills passed or protect your rights and other rights.
Just political.
So like an NRA for the water
Like an
system.
NRA for the water system.
What's the Idaho Rural Water Association?
Yes.
It's a 501c3 nonprofit providing training and technical assistance to drinking water and wastewater utility.
I mean, you can see that being done bigger, if we had a bigger water system to get to that point, but I agree with
It
Steve.
provides Idaho Rural Water Association is here to ensure Idaho's rural communities are safe while still maintaining. If you have a water system, kind of like being a member of the Association of Idaho Cities.
It's not that much.
I don't know, but so the person who would go to that would be either the water master, but it should also be someone who administers the water system, as in a clerk maybe.
Where's it at? Maybe I'll reconsider it.
Yeah. I don't know how often
Okay.
they have a webpage, so it's like they have
Okay.
training seminars, technical assistance in wastewater, technical assistance for water. Circuit Rider offers one-on-one technical assistance to your on-site with the operators and management of systems, assistance and training, covers areas of daily operation.
I think that young kid came, his stepson. Yeah, Mike's or somebody's, yeah, came and presented to us, and I think he was part of that. I think Janet used them to kind of help us sometimes.
It's to ICRIM as well. I would suggest it might be worth
Keeping it,
keeping.
$150.
Not an issue.
Okay.
Then we'll go to my other list for discussion. There's a CD for the street account. It comes due August 18th, 2023. You can give some thought to doing that. A lot of these things are just getting rolled over. The issue is you don't really have access to some immediate cash if you needed it.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you want to be cashing in CDs because, and so far, $9.30 is what you got out this CD.
Okay.
So, we can discuss that at another time, but just bring it up what you want to do with it. I don't know how the city feels regarding the checking. The street account is wrapped into the general operating account, and you get money in from highways, it gets dumped into the regular account. Do you want to be able to keep that separated? Because when I'm gone, you want this to be as clean as possible for anybody else following me. And for them to understand that we're trying to work out of one bucket for the street fund also, may not be a good thing to do. So my recommendation would be, not just another account, is to get another checking account. And those street expenses come out of that. I think I had a question here about for legal counsel regarding the highway funds. Are there limitations on the highway funds coming in from the state?
What they can be used for?
What they can be used for?
I believe so.
Yeah.
So we may want to just do what you're saying, get it
Take the
physically divided into a different account, so
Right.
that's easier. Should we put that, is that an action item that we would want to do, or can we just do
To
that
make a separate account.
for the roads, maintenance, highway,
Highway,
streets?
yeah, roads, whatever I call it.
That wouldn't
I'm
hurt.
gonna pick a resolution to that effect.
I was gonna say that might,
It would be a sub-account.
might just like more robust than just the
And
budget.
that's what those are called, the negligent
Oh,
sub-accounts.
Yeah, whatever they want to do, yeah.
Okay, that would be,
So, I mean, if you want a resolution, we'll type one up and have it prepared for the next meeting.
thank you.
Okay? The city used to collect credit cards. The machine broke, and that was the end of it.
Oh, yeah.
So I think we ought to just go ahead and go back to credit cards. It's not a very nice feeling to go in there and tell somebody, oh, you owe us this, and they reach into the wallet to pull the card out, and, oh, we can't do that.
He's right. He's
You're
right.
right, exactly.
He's right.
In this day and age.
And then the other issue is, do we have to charge extra, or is that just the cost of doing business?
Boise County does, if you use it, they're charged like 3%.
I would just say price reflects 3% cash discount or
Is
something.
it a requirement, is it illegal not to charge the 3%, to charge them the $20 for the?
Wait, who says?
Boise County, when you go in to do the DMV.
That's true, she's actually right.
If you write a check or you pay cash.
She's
that's
right, through my
price.
wife's car person.
And
on
then
car.
So you would have to,
Up to their power.
so let's say I want to pay for a business license. And the business license is set by this resolution of the council of $25. And I come in and I want to pay by credit card. Here's $25 plus 3% for the credit card. The city is now charging a new fee, which is the credit card fee. So you can either eat it as the cost of doing business, the 3% transaction fee. So otherwise, if you want to add 3% on top of it, you have to do a new resolution. You'd actually have to create maybe an ordinance, create a resolution that says a new fee is transaction fee on top of all the other fees that you have to have a public hearing.
Only if you're using credit cards. How does Boise County do it, like at the DMV?
They had to have adopted a resolution similar to that.
Yeah.
So cash or check is X price.
No, so the same way you adopt a resolution for fees, or increasing a fee, you just create a resolution saying we're adopting a fee of 3% on top of this.
Only use the credit card specifically.
Or you don't, and you just say, you set the fee at $25, and you just know that you're gonna eat 3% of that and get 3% less.
Yeah, but when somebody's coming in for planning and zoning and our water connection is $2,000, you know,
Right.
3% of that. That's,
So,
Checks only for $100 or more?
no, that's, I mean, you have to accept legal tender.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
So a suitcase of cash is fine.
Pennies.
Well, right now, once in a while, somebody will say, do you take debit or credit? And I say no. They're like, oh, okay. Usually I get a check or I get cash. I haven't had anybody, one lady went to get cash, but.
Got sent to the bank.
But that's only one.
But that's not
And
too
all the rest
often.
of them, you get checks and cash, so.
Well,
you
with
just
these vendors, you might, you mean, so I'm just telling you the legal ramifications of saying you want to add 5% on top of what you charge, you just have to adopt a new fee that says it's going to be 3%.
And that's an ordinance.
Transaction.
It might be something we want to bring up later for sure. It could be we just eat it for now, but I don't know. What do you guys think?
I think we should just do a resolution, it's not that hard.
Okay.
Well, if we're going to do a resolution, I was saying we ought to raise some of these fees, because your vendor fee and your business license fee are the same price. Your building permit's $100. You won't go too many places and pay $100 for a building permit.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
I don't know where many people do 3 inspections on their buildings, so that's pretty costly. I had a few citizens approach me about that. 3 different
well,
inspections.
then there should be a plan review. It's just not going to send one guy out to look at a building at a time. There should be a plan review process. And then the building inspection itself, that could be 2 or 3 inspections. Depending on what your relative is for him, you could be going in the hole at $100 permit. And, let's wait a minute, you got some big construction coming up.
Well, they pay for their inspections, they just pay us the fee. They still have to pay for their inspections, I believe, to come out, the inspectors. We just collect a small fee.
So the city has no inspector that reports that is on the city side of things?
They send, I believe they send us the reports though, they're expected to send us the reports. We do, but I don't know that we have like unenforceable, like you must use this citizen I would have now is,
Yeah, you appointed a building.
did we, okay, but I mean, is that the person they're supposed to be using every time? Is that required that they use our inspector?
I think so.
Okay, so
Well,
then
yeah, the
they're,
building inspector for the authority having jurisdiction, the city of
Yeah.
Crouch, would be the guy to go out there to make sure that.
and then they just pay him directly, they pay us.
No,
He should be billing us and we bill
he should
the
be building,
citizen, or the builder, person building.
I find a lot of things are different here. But
They
normally,
know where you're going.
the building inspector is an employee or a contractor for the city, he reports back to the city, his interest is for the city. His cost, his fee would be charged to the city. The city should be charging enough money to recoup that cost
Right,
from the building. And at $100 a building permit.
That's not gonna do it.
Well, and it says right on the building permit, I believe that the inspection is $200. So that's an additional fee.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, wasn't ready for this.
It's okay, don't be sorry.
No, I know,
Just issues that-
let's get it down for the agenda next month, and also, who does, how do you guys feel about the credit card thing, putting in the ordinance for that?
I think we,
I think we're Boise County.
How do you feel, Clay?
If it's not being used a lot, I just say we eat it for now. But at some point, if there's a lot of people paying by credit card, you know,
Laura, would you be okay if they just notify us, maybe we kind of table this every few months and see how it's going? Let me know if you start seeing, even if you see just one large transaction with a card. We need to get a machine though, so we'll go ahead and get a machine. Get a machine. And then let me know if there's a big one, and then we come back and we revamp our thoughts around it.
They just want to get a square thing or?
Yeah, I don't know, what do you?
Yeah, just get a square.
Little square for the tablet. Is the tablet not working now? I thought it wasn't working.
Well,
They try to
we'll just make it all inclusive.
he takes cards.
Yeah, but she said,
The tablet.
they do things.
No, I don't personally disagree, it's just we're free to do. But I think what we do is keep our minds, get a tablet and a reader, and then you just keep me posted, just call me, text me.
It's not.
It could be, I mean, just one decent large thing, like a big water hook, like they're saying.
That could be.
Try to politely tell them, hey, could we get a check for this? And then let me know, and we'll get an ordinance, I guess, and we'll know at that point when we need it.
I haven't had really good.
I don't know.
We
I
can,
don't want to be
we
qualified.
can work with those big
unprepared.
ones and just say, you know, that's gonna cost us, we'll work with that. But we should be able to provide a service.
I think you're right, and for now, we'll just eat it. But let's bring that into discussion later. Okay.
Right, I'll continue down my list, I found this out.
Sorry. Yeah.
Okay, the council packet preparation. From my perspective, from what I'm saying, the clerk is on a treadmill to get your paperwork out by Thursday, close of business, because the agenda has to be posted. I don't believe you guys are really reading them between Thursday and Wednesday, that quick. My proposal is to do them on Tuesday by the close of business. That gives you the night. Or if that's not enough, to have them out by Monday at the close of business. That gives you 2 days.
Let's do Monday, personally.
Yeah, yeah.
You get them on Thursday night, you say, no, I'll look at that later, and later doesn't show up till 5 minutes to 6.
But the agenda was sent out on Thursday before.
Okay, yeah, let's start shooting for Monday, I
And
think.
then whatever you get in your email will be duplicated in your council packet at the
That's
desk.
gonna be great.
Okay?
I know that's a lot, but thank you.
That's how it should be. Not a problem. Okay, water invoices will be mailed out, this is procedural change, on the 25th of the month, between the 25th and the end of the month, for the following month. So, bills went out May 25th, they're being billed for June. So instead of billing backwards, they changed that part back in January. They were billing forward instead of backwards in January. But we're just establishing the date that the bills are going to go out, that 5-day period.
Perfect.
Okay, and you guys should have got an email regarding an issue of,
I happened to run into Bonnie, and she shared that with me. I don't think we got an
think just went to February, give a little heads up.
Yeah. I've never
I'm
seen
sorry,
it.
the mayor.
It's like, yeah, that's funny.
Improve my etiquette.
It's like 8 months overdue.
Yeah.
I did read it, but it's just, again, I'm just going to
Okay.
refresh. I need to refresh myself before I commit to
You just come in and pay the $500. I did have the answer for, that I sent to you in case he stopped you on the street.
Yeah, and I'd seen him a couple times, but we
Yeah.
just said hello, he didn't try to come flat, or nothing.
He just.
And that, his issue was 2 invoices on the same day.
Yeah.
And that was in January when they were billing back a month,
Oh.
and in January they were billing forward. So we got 2 invoices on the same day.
So,
And that, so that, but we have the answer now if he ever comes back in for an explanation.
well, I see him moving out a lot of stuff right now, so.
He's moving in there, isn't he? He's.
Oh, unless he's still moving.
Back again, talking about no contingency fund, no quick access to cash. As we do the street fund, if we just go ahead and create a contingency fund or a reserve fund, whatever is appropriate name you want to use.
With that CDD or something.
I don't care what terminology.
Yeah, I mean, right. We need to start, because I've seen in the budget, we've got money supposed to go to the contingency fund. Well, where is the contingency fund? There is no contingency fund.
Would you think that'd be another bank account?
It should be sitting right over there, and
So like
that should
three,
be growing. That should be bigger, bigger, bigger.
Okay,
Right.
okay.
So we'll do that too.
Yeah, I'd say let's do that.
And this was a question for legal counsel. Is there any requirement for a city to have a certain amount of monies in the bank, a reserve fund based on their budget? Are you aware of anything?
Maybe.
Okay.
I'm not positive. I know it's a minimum permissible. If there's a required minimum, I'm not aware. But the Association of Iowa City Treasurers Club can tell you that.
Okay.
More quickly than I could.
Another club. I like that. Okay, all right, the financial audit, this is a good one. If legal counsel had, did you have a chance to read my little notes?
I was excited.
I don't think did I get them?
Yeah.
I don't know,
They
you weren't on it.
got it. If you didn't get an email, well, it might be on your end.
I'm wondering. I gotta look it up. I don't know.
You don't have to be accurate, and I have no idea. Okay, I'll give you a section number. State statute 67-4508. I'm sorry, that's a B. 450B. Subsection 2, subsection C. The one liner. Well, it might be more of it.
Okay.
I'll read it to you while you're looking it up. The governing body of a local government entity whose annual expenditures from all sources do not exceed $150,000 and has no minimum audit requirement under this section. Now, our budget, we were at $158,000
We just crossed
in the
that.
budget.
Oh,
However, it contained fund transfers that we're not going to spend the money, we just moved the money. And so I'm thinking that we're not actually spending $150,000.
so we don't need,
So I'm thinking we don't need,
what's our threshold at then, if we did?
it would be $150,000, but we didn't spend the money.
How it kind of reads is, it's how much, if you have spent your
I
expenditure.
was gonna say, it's not what you have.
Not what they have, what they spend, actual expenditures. Because we're looking at 10.5,
We have to,
14, 18,
it's process
we're
like
looking at $18,000
18,
in this budget that isn't going anywhere.
right.
All sources.
Expenditures.
All expenditures from all sources, so not just tax revenue, but even income spent, do not exceed 150, has no minimum audit requirements under this section. That's pretty clear. And so, do we,
We just don't have to do the audit essentially.
what was last year's total expenditures?
Oh,
2021.
Total.
you know, I had it, but I just No, I got that one on my computer. That one's not even on, yeah. No, because I did an entire Excel spreadsheet separate from QuickBooks,
Oh, good.
because QuickBooks is jumbled one.
Yeah.
So, as a matter of fact, yeah, I mean, it makes no difference. I didn't know we were going to talk about last year, but it had to be less than $150,000 because the issue didn't get raised until now. Last year's budget was $137,000. And I'm sure it still had these funds that didn't go anywhere. So it's this year that we're talking about.
Right.
But I don't think we need to do it. Pending your approval. Okay, that's just good news, maybe. The ring security system. We're spending $100 a year for a service. We don't know anything about it. Who's got the login? Who's got all that information on that?
I think Bob, and we gotta get it up. I keep just getting off of those stuff.
Alright,
Alright.
almost done.
No, you're good. That's good. That's good.
All right, email assignments and provider. I'm looking for the information regarding the email service provider. We discussed that earlier. The web hosting service, I'm looking for information on the service provider and accessibility. Roadside porta potty. I should have called this roadside toilet because it's probably more appropriate. There's a porta potty behind this building. Is it here because of an issue with the building, or is it to actually serve the public as a roadside porta potty?
Yes.
It serves the public.
Okay, because sometimes it is charged against our regular account, but if it's a roadside to serve the public, then we'll put it against the street.
Yes.
Some of it has, some of it doesn't.
Oh.
And then the procedure sheets for updating the agenda, I put the agenda on the website this month, and between now and the next meeting, I will have a cheat sheet prepared so that anyone can do it.
Even me.
Even me.
Okay.
All right, that's it. Submit it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The last thing I got from you was on May 30th.
Me too.
But
I don't have anything from June. Did you send anything this last
It
week?
would have come from the printer.
It came from you.
I don't have, oh, the printer?
The printer, she said, was in that print. Apparently not.
No, I can't.
Chandler City of Crouch, but that's her.
Oh, then maybe I did.
That's me.
You said you put things in the printer, it scans and emails them.
But
Yeah, I don't have anything. Have you emailed
That's
these
what I
in the last
asked.
week? 'Cause I have not gotten anything.
The last thing I emailed you was regarding the double invoices.
When was that?
I did get it. Checking account. I got it. It came from the copier.
Copier?
Roadside order, there it is. And I got it on June 7th. So I thought it was,
I don't have
it was a
anything.
scan document, but anyway, yes, I got it, so now I know.
Not from
Now I
me.
know what I'm looking for.
Talking about fitness.
Well, no, Bonnie sent it.
Yep.
No,
I
Bonnie
was
sent
wondering,
it.
are you sending it to my @cityofcrouch.org one?
no, Lisa Ryan on
Trevor.shufflebite@gmail?
the, yes.
Yep, Trevor at Gmail, and it was message from RPN 002673 729.
What's the day and time that